Hi everyone, and welcome back to another review for Game of Thrones right here on Dedicated to Art. I'm as usual your host, Kees, joined by my usual panel, Ryan McClellan and Irina Muha, to review The Long Night. A very, very, very much anticipated episode to say the least. The memes about this episode coming out in the same week as Endgame, all that type of shit. Yeah, I actually dreamed about this episode a couple of days before it came out. I had dreams about what would happen, me being in the battle, of course. It was nuts. I was going crazy over it. And now we finally have it. We've all seen it, and God damn it. I'm disappointed. I can't sugarcoat it. I wanted to love it. I really did. The director was there to direct this episode, like he did with Hard Home and Battle of the Bastards. But yeah, both of those episodes were better, in my opinion. This battle was good, but it's severely flawed, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
Are you going to me first? Or do
Yeah.
you think it's a good idea? Well, I really hated the episode. Mostly, yeah. I was really upset after it. How things ended. I mean, let's go to Ryan. I still need to gather my thoughts.
Fair enough. Ryan, what did you actually like it, or do you also have issues with it?
I have issues with it, but I don't think I dislike it as much as you guys do. I appreciate it for what it was. I think that obviously we'll get into, bit by bit what is so good or bad about it. But I think that the good still outweighs the bad. But what's frustrating is we were expecting, like, we had some really good momentum going with those first two episodes.
Yeah.
So to see it kind of falter like that, and it almost feels like we took a step back.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, now what has happened, and we can continue to move forward. I appreciate that. And I think that a rewatch of this episode will be beneficial just to kind of understand everything that was going on. But it certainly, there was a lot of head shaking going on during the episode. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue that I've seen around Twitter and Facebook that a lot of people say is simply that you have a hard time even seeing what is going on in the episode. It is a very dark episode, not in tone, just in visual, like how you can actually see stuff.
We had to move closer to the TV, and still we didn't.
Yeah, we like initially we're just chilling in the bed watching, and then I moved over here because my TV is right here to make sure that I could actually see what was going on. It was so dark, and we actually had a really difficult time. And the strange thing is that I don't really understand why they made it so dusty and hard for us to see what was going on. Maybe they needed to save up on budget or whatever, but I'm like, if you compare this to another battle that was fought at night, The Watchers on the Wall, also a complete episode dedicated to one battle that was the one at the wall at the end of season 4, I could see what was going on. I could follow what was going on. In this episode, for the most part, I really struggled to see what even was going on. And that also makes sure that you don't really know how the battle is playing out. Like, I often just was trying to figure out what was even happening. So I think that's the biggest complaint overall for the episode. Now, look, I will still say, I think that the director, Miguel Sapochnik, did whatever he could with the episode, because he is still a very good director. We've seen that, and I still think the directing was as good as it could possibly be for what this episode was. It's just that the writers didn't give him that much to work with. The writers probably described in the screenplay that it needed to be very dark and very blurry all throughout. So
desperate.
Yeah. And what I also think is that it was just desperate to compare to Lord of the Rings, to Helm's Deep. Well, I'm like, you shouldn't do that. You should make your own battle. This show has delivered us some great battles. Don't compare it to something like Lord of the Rings. Anyway, that's my biggest issue. I will still say it's a good episode overall. Like good visual effects, well produced and whatnot. It's just a couple of issues. Your thoughts, overall thoughts, a little bit on issues or
Overall on issues.
pros or cons. Just what do you want to say?
Okay, issues. Yeah, it's dark. I'm not gonna stop on the technical. We know it was difficult to see, but what are you gonna do about that? Biggest issues. Not enough people died. The people that we know, obviously, the Freki are gone. Like 99% of Unsullied are gone. Grey Worm survived somehow. Like,
how
did that happen? They're gone. Northmen, a lot of them are gone. At the end, I couldn't even. It felt at the end that there's only Brienne, Jaime, Podrick, and Tormund fighting in the Winterfell.
And Sam.
Oh yes, Sam was crying on the ground. It's okay. Anyway, but not enough people died, and I was ready to cry. But the whole episode, I was so tense. I'm like, oh my, shit's gonna go down. It's kind of going down, but not in that way. And there were losses, of course. I cried maybe a little bit too much at Jorah's death because I needed something. And of course, of course, my biggest issue, the lack of motivation for the Night King. He just wanted to kill everyone, and that's it. And it's done.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue, and I think we'll stop on that.
All right. Ryan, what are your overall thoughts? What do you have positives about the episode that you thought were good?
Yeah, I didn't have as much issue with the darkness. I think where it really was too much was when the dragons were flying around and they were kind of doing and not only was it just dark and difficult to see, but there didn't feel like there was any point to it. They were just flying around through this snowstorm or whatever, and then they would like rise above it for a little bit, and then they would get all back into it, and like they barely, there was a little bit of fighting against the Night King, but really it was a lot of them just flying around in circles. It's like, all right, well, what are we getting at here? I guess it was to take the dragons out of the fight for a little bit so that the fight on the ground could happen. Maybe that was the purpose for the writers, but it just didn't flow. And that would be my main criticism of this episode, is there just wasn't a lot of flow to it. Mentioning the Battle of Helm's Deep or the airport scene in Civil War, or just really Braveheart, like any great battle scenes in movies and TV and stuff like that, flow is what matters the most. Because you're going from this section to that section and you're covering a lot of different, and here it was
how
so
the battle
jumpy.
evolves.
Right. There was no rhyme or reason to 1 second we're like on this side of the castle, and then the other second we're all the way over here on the other side of Winterfell, and it just
on the plains outside of Winterfell.
Exactly. There was just really no order to it, and the progression of the battle didn't really make sense as far as sending the Dothraki like way out there first, and then you see all the lights get extinguished, all the swords get extinguished.
That was a cool shot.
That was a cool shot, but then Jorah and all his men are coming back. It's like, well, wait, did they go forward too? Because it didn't look like they did. And then next thing you know, they're coming back. So, and that plays into the darkness, is you really, at first you're like, okay, it's dark because they're so far out. But then that carries through the episode, and you're never really sure until maybe they come inside the keep. Then you're kind of like, okay, I can kind of...
When they lit the trench, I was like, hey, I'm able to see something.
And that helped. And then I have one other issue, but we'll end up getting to that later. But as far as like one big positive for me, I really did like a lot of the smaller, like you still got character moments throughout this, even unspoken character moments between, well, first of all, you had character moments between Theon and Bran. Yeah. You had character moments just between, I'll actually say one really interesting one to me, and then I'll pass it back. But when Jon is going for the Night King, and then he ends up getting sidetracked by the dragon, I think it's very interesting and telling that he sees Sam like fighting for his life, and he like wants to go save him, but he knows that he can't. And that to me is maybe the mark of someone who should sit on the Iron Throne at the end of all this. I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting. Like, normally the Jon that you would expect is going to go for Sam and help him, but he's like, no, I got to keep pressing on. So I thought that even small things unsaid like that, there were some really nice character moments throughout.
True. Yeah. I'll just go by how the episode starts. They all are prepping the battle lines in front of Winterfell, and then Melisandre shows up. Okay.
Very
Uh,
unexpected.
kind of unexpected, but I'm not against it. I'm okay with it. And she lights all the blades of the Dothraki.
That was cool.
That was a really cool moment, and even cooler was okay. The Dothraki go, and you see the wide shot from them all going at it, and then slowly the lights go out. I think that was a really cool telling shot. That's very good visual storytelling, and that's what this director likes a lot. Of like, and they're all gone, and you only see a couple of them coming back with Jorah, who also went with them. And it's like, okay, we have a really big issue because all those Dothraki did nothing. And the Army of the Dead is still coming. So I thought that was cool. I thought Daenerys did actually a lot in this episode, a lot more than Jon, which actually is kind of...
That's my issue. I forgot about that.
Yeah, true. Like, usually Jon does a lot in these type of battles, and he was very, very reserved. But I thought it was very cool that Daenerys was like, the dead are already here. I'm going to help these people. These are my people. I want to protect them. I want to make sure... And she... climbs on a dragon and actually helps them. And I thought it was a very cool moment. And Daenerys has a couple of cool moments throughout the episode where she actually tries to kill the Night King with dragonfire. We already knew that he couldn't be killed by fire, but it was still cool that she tried those things, that she was actually just going in there, putting her life and Drogon's life on the line to make sure that they could win the battle. So that was really cool. And like from... as I've said about the last 2 episodes, Daenerys was not in a good place. I think after this, she's in a lot better place, especially in the eyes of the people who see her flying over with the dragons and helping.
And fighting with a spear.
Yeah, she actually picked up a dragon glass spear while fighting with Jorah. Like that, I didn't expect that, but it was really cool that she did that. So I'll give her credit for that. Like, hey, my favorite character did something, which is, she's been struggling in the last 2 episodes. So, anywho, then the Army of the Dead come. They fight against the Unsullied. The Unsullied get pushed back, and then the trench needs to be lit.
Grey Worm's okay.
Grey Worm for some reason is okay. Anyway, that entire opening, essentially the first half hour, it was just a lot of battle building up. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, when it started and the Dothraki started going in, I'm like, imagine if they go in, immediately they die.
Yeah, you said that.
And they come back all dead. I don't think they were resurrected. They probably stayed there. But it would have been awesome to see them. Oh my shit, they just went and now they're dead.
Now they're coming back as dead people.
But the beginning was very strong.
Yes.
I figured that it's kind of messy when the Army of the Dead attacked Unsullied, and there was Brienne with Jaime and Pod, and Jorah was somewhere. And that's when I realized we're not probably going to get any order to this battle. It's just going to be happening.
To be fair, I do get them trying to just show chaos. It's disarray.
That's true. Yeah, when they started falling back, I'm like, what's your plan there? No, the beginning, I think I was completely fine with.
Yeah,
until the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, it's just the more that the episode progressed that we started to have issues with it. Anyway, Ryan, what are your thoughts on the beginning?
I liked it, and I will agree that the chaos was there as far as like you had White Walkers just running and like body slamming into Jaime and just like all the other people around, and that was kind of, I was like, okay, this is a swarm.
Yeah.
They are not going to stop. They're going to just run headlong. They don't care about. I mean, we already knew all of this, but seeing it in action in that way when you have this is the largest fighting force assembled against them. So it was cool to see that. And I liked basically how they shot the whole, like, okay, we're going to retreat like this, where we're going to put the Unsullied on the line, essentially, because they're the ones that are the professional soldiers, really, when you think about it. So we're going to have them out there while everyone else retreats. Like, they had some thought to it, and then Melisandre has to go out there and do her thing where it looks like she's going to get killed because she already said, hey, I'm going to die. So you think that's when she's going to die because for whatever reason her prayer/spell wasn't working. So that was kind of a cool moment where you're like waiting to see what happens. But I agree that just with that beginning part, there really just was no order to, like, the shots didn't follow any sort of order. It was just like, we're over on this side, then we're here, then we're like, you couldn't sorry to keep going back to like Helm's Deep or even Civil War, but like you always feel like you know where everyone is. You have a feel of the scope of the battlefield, and like you understand like, okay, if I'm here, then they're here, and I don't know, there was just none of that organization to it. So it just like it got a little boring because you're just like sitting here like watching stuff happen, and none of it really meant anything. And besides, you know, some people dying, I guess.
Yeah, and even like Helm's Deep is a more controlled environment because they're all in one fortress, and they're like none of them are outside the walls. I think Jesus, that is also a little bit of an issue of this episode where the battle is going on in several places. But if you want to compare it to a bigger battle, like for me, Minas Tirith, the Battle of Minas Tirith, where first the orcs come in and try to take the city, then they actually breach the city walls, but then the Rohirrim come in and they take on the orcs. That kind of works, but then the elephants come in, and to counter that, they bring that army. But you can all follow it. It all makes sense because you see it. And to be fair, that is in daylight. That's not in night, but it's still like if you look at these great battles in history, or presented on screen in history, then usually what people do is just really make an order and show out battle tactics. Heck, in Battle of the Bastards, I was really able to follow the battle tactics, and I thought that was really cool. And I felt a little bit of a lack of that in this
just
one.
The trenches, and basically that was it.
And
anyway,
we never got a whole lot. Sorry about like yelling orders from Brienne or anything like that to kind of like I was expecting, like I kept waiting for her or Jamie or someone to say something. Really all they ended up saying was retreat, and that was after like it was too chaotic. I understand they were going for chaos, but it was too much.
It was a little too much. Anyway, then the trench gets lit, and they think that they have the army of the dead, but then you get that really ominous shot of all the dead men just standing behind the fire, and they're like, we're waiting, we'll come. And then you get that moment of the Night King forcing them to put a couple of them on the fire. They can get through, and they start to swarm the walls. They get through the wall. Actually, one giant comes into the door, which
mirroring Battle of the Bastards a little bit. Because
that's true. Because also a giant in Battle of the Bastards broke one, I believe the name was. He came into it, and he was killed by an arrow in the eye from Ramsay. Now in this case, Lyanna grows some balls. I didn't know that she had it in her. Look, I know that she is very ferocious. When she's talking, but I never actually saw her do anything in terms of doing stuff in battle. But she just runs at the giant, let the giant pick her up and stabs him in the eye. That was a badass moment, I thought. Even though, and I didn't expect Lyanna to die because that means House Mormont is gone now. That's interesting.
Good house.
Yeah, I essentially liked everyone from House Mormont: the Lord Commander, Jorah, Lyanna. And meanwhile, Arya is in the library, she
was on the wall.
She was on the wall.
Too much.
It was too much. Then she goes to the library, and we have a tense scene of her going there. Anyway, that's another entire sequence that I just described. So, what are your thoughts on essentially the second half?
The walls. I had an issue when. Basically, the walls got flooded with whites.
Yes.
And then we cut away, but it would seem like everyone would be dead in like 5 seconds. And it really looked like there was just Jaime, Brienne, Pod, Arya, Hound, and Beric. Beric,
yeah.
Beric. And Gendry's there. Gendry's
also there.
Someone tweeted like, I thought Gendry died 5 times because he looks so generic. But no, I think he's died. And so we cut away, and they seemed fine. They got down somehow. So the walls, like something was happening on the walls, and the Hound was just basically not chilling. He was experiencing some not PTSD. You know what I mean?
something
fright,
like that.
battle fright.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was just standing there, and Beric seemed to be alone fighting the whites. Arya on the roof somehow. I don't know how that happened. So the cool moment was Lyanna. That was great.
Yeah.
I think we were cutting to crypts. Some.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some
They also cut to the
points.
crypts, just showing how they were doing,
And I
mostly
think it was
just
taking away from the fight. Like it was cool for them to listen what was happening.
yeah.
I think that could have been you could have gotten more from that, but at least I don't know. Like they should have stayed on the walls
Fair enough.
and showed us what happened.
Ryan, your thoughts on the sequence on the walls and stuff?
This is where one of my complaints kind of comes into it, as far as it's easy to be like, okay, yeah, the action was great, because it really was at certain parts. There were a lot of awesome fights happening, especially with Beric and the Hound coming to get, or rather Clegane coming to get Arya from the library.
Yeah.
That whole scene was really cool. Obviously he gets stabbed to death because I don't know, finally he's dead for real, I guess. and then
served his final purpose.
Right. And so that was interesting. But what frustrated me is, yes, we cut to the crypts just a few too many times, because it was cool to hear them like, oh wow, that's horrific, that's going on right above my head, they're dying so that I can stay safe down here. And like there were people banging on the door begging to get in. That was pretty horrific, and that was a cool moment.
And then it's done like in Hard Home. There were a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
Right. But like that was basically, you didn't need like 10 minutes of Sansa coming down into the crypt and like looking all scary at everyone, like all scared at everyone. You didn't need that. And you didn't need like 5 minutes of them talking about like Tyrion saying, I wish I was up there. Like it could have been a short little conversation, but it was like this long drawn out thing.
Do you think we could have made it work with our marriage? Who the fuck cares right now?
Yeah, that's like, why are you talking of like, you should have had this maybe very, very short conversation, but it was just too much to where like it felt, this episode, it sounds so like weird to say, because some people are complaining about why are these episodes so short. Like I wanted all of them to be 3 hours.
This one was too long.
But this one honestly felt too long. It just wasn't organized to the point where it felt like it was a 3-hour movie, because I'm just like, all right, when are we going to get to the next part? Because they were just showing me a lot of the same stuff. And easing into sort of the ending part, though, we kept getting like the same slow-mo shots of here's Jaime fighting for his life, here's Brienne fighting for her life, and Sam's on the ground weeping and all this stuff. It's like, why are you showing me that? And then like Jon is like running from pillar to pillar to try to get on the dragon, like, or to try to fight the dragon. So we just kept getting these long drawn out slow motion shots, and they just overused that to where I was like, all right. And then to creep into the ending a little bit, because it's kind of the same complaint. It's just like the Night King is like walking so slow, like taking his time. Like, I get it. It's very dramatic to be like, oh, here he is. He's finally here to kill everyone. But we know that someone has to survive. So really, in the end, there's not that much suspense, because we know that not everyone is going to die. Someone is going to live. Yeah. So it's just like, get to the point. You can have him walk in all badass. That's fine. Mm-hmm. And like walking up to Bran, but he just like walks and he just like stands there for like 60 seconds. And it's like, all of this stuff is just way too long. The cutting, whoever edited it, it needed to be way tighter than it was.
Yeah.
It easily could have been a 58, 60-minute episode.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, let's get more into the ending. At one point, the Night King falls off Viserion, and Daenerys tries to kill him. Doesn't work. The Night King once again tries to spear. I thought that was kind of unnecessary, because Daenerys knew he was going to use it, and he misses anyway. Anyway, the Night King, he starts to slowly walk towards Winterfell. Then Jon sees him, and Jon is also not running after him. It's like, dude, this is your one chance to kill him, and he doesn't run. He is like walking. I know that he's injured, but it's like, come on. He tries to like sneak up on him, but of course, at one point, the Night King just turns around and is like, oh, I got this for you.
Hard Home 2.0.
That part was pretty badass, though, just to see like everyone waking. Yeah, no, it was a little repetitive.
Okay, it was repeating, but we knew it would happen anyway. We knew at one point it would happen, especially because everyone predicted that the dead in the crypts would be resurrected, as happened. Which, I thought more would happen in the crypts.
Yeah.
I was honestly thinking, is Sansa or Tyrion gonna die? No, there's way too much plot armor.
Can Sansa kill someone with a dragon glass?
Yeah, can Sansa...
Arya gave her the spear.
She doesn't do anything with it. It's like you set it up and you don't pay it off. Huh. And I was honestly like, too many characters throughout this episode are just protected by plot armor. By the fact, these are characters who have been in the show and we can't kill them off yet because we still have 3 episodes to fill, so they can't die. It's like, more people could have died. And that's like, towards the end of the episode, I really get into my frustrations. Also, like, Theon, for some reason, manages to kill everyone. All the Ironborn are dead. It's Theon, just him. But he kills all these whites coming at him. When did he grow a pair of balls? Because I don't think he has them still, and he still doesn't have them. So I'm like, what happened there? And then you get, of course, the big moment. The Night King comes in. He almost kills Bran. I honestly expected him to talk. He didn't know and was a little disappointed by that. Yeah. And then Arya jumps up behind him. I don't know where she came from, but I was like, oh my God, that's...
Huh? That was my last frustration. Like, I'll let you guys talk about it, but that frustrated me so much.
I did think it was really cool that she got to kill him, and the way that she did it. That was
I have
really
nothing
cool.
against Arya killing him.
Yeah, like, I thought that was very cool. And for someone who hasn't really liked Arya for the past 3 seasons, this was really cool for her to do. So I was actually okay with her doing that. Not so much how the hell she got past the whites who were standing behind him, but that's... Right, Ryan, get into it.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, I think that if you're going to have this long, drawn out, here he is walking up towards Bran should have said something. Someone should have said something, because otherwise it's just awkward stares. Yeah. And it's like, I was like literally, honestly, starting to fall asleep because I was like, this episode is just getting boring because it was those slow-mo shots. And like Jon trying to fight the dragon was a little bit interesting, but then it's just like, here he comes. He keeps walking. We know he's going to get all the way up to Bran. We know. And it was actually a little bit interesting to see Theon try to kill him. You knew he was obviously going to fail, so that was interesting to like, he knows he's not going to be able to kill him, but he's going to try anyway. So that was kind of cool. Like, good for Theon to be redeemed in that way. But then, all of a sudden we see like this whoosh of air. And then here comes Arya out of nowhere. Like, I get it. She's an assassin. But that really just makes no sense how she was able to get past. If these guys are so good to where like they can seemingly always sense where everyone is, how come she is magically like, that's not the mythology that's been set up. The mythology that's been set up is she's a good assassin to where like she can blend in or like hide in certain places, and you see her sneaking around the library earlier in the episode. That was cool. She gets found by a random White Walker. So how come, because her blood is falling. So if her blood falling is enough to get a regular White Walker's attention.
If a random White can detect her sneaking underneath a table, then all these White Walkers and Whites standing around the tree waiting for the Night King to kill then one of them at least.
It's not like she's got super speed. Like, they have super speed, not her, because of how fast he's able to turn around and grab her. And yes, I like that Arya killed him, and I like how she did it. It was The Last Jedi Part 2, but in Game of Thrones. That's what we said. So really badass. It was cool, but I'm glad that she was, able to put her, assassin skills to use. But she should have been hiding behind the tree or under Bran's chair. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, it should have been anywhere else. Or I kept expecting her to be Bran or be Theon or something like something that we already knew that made sense. But I honestly had to rewind and go back and make sure that like she literally just comes out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
No sense. It's so stupid. Complain about the episode being dark all you want. Like, that's not the end of the world necessarily. But this to me was just like, no matter what, it makes zero sense whatsoever. It was so frustrating. It ruined the best part of the episode. What could have been the best part of the episode?
Should have been the best.
Should have been. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when the Night King is walking up to Bran, I actually thought that Bran would say something, and maybe the Night King would say something. And so, look, considering that Bran has been the exposition train for 2 seasons already, I mean, this was the time to spout out any exposition that we needed on the Night King. Because so far, the Night King has just been this menacing, dangerous guy that we know nothing about, really. This was the time to give him motivation. This was the time to actually tell us, oh, this is what's up with the Night King. This is why he's doing everything.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's my biggest issue, eh?
That was your issue, yeah.
Yeah, basically, I said that in our recap before the season that I never liked Brent's storyline that much, and please give me the reason and
give him
his
purpose.
Yeah, I need a purpose this season. Maybe there'll be purpose later, but it really seemed like it should be tied to the Night King. There's still nothing apparently, and I really was waiting. Like, what does the Night King want? Because George R. Martin said that he loves the Lord of the Rings, but his biggest issue is that there's clear-cut good and there's clear-cut bad. He doesn't want that in his story. No. This is, of course, the show. And from what they did, the Night King is just bad. He just wanted to kill everyone. Ryan mentioned that we knew that all characters are not going to die. People are going to survive. And I saw someone tweet, like, what did you expect? Did you expect the Night King to win? We knew how this was going to happen. Why are you bitching about it? We knew how... No, I'm not going to say it. No.
What?
Okay. We all kind of knew that Endgame would... some people would return because there's still Black Panther and Spider-Man. Like, we knew what to expect, but it was still amazing because Thanos' motivation was always great, and it was strong. But here, I was just so upset that it's just done. It's done.
And it felt like there was nothing to it because all they ended up having to do was like get a little bit lucky. But we never, just like with even Darth Vader, who is kind of that mask, you don't really know anything about him in A New Hope. Well, by the time he dies in Return of the Jedi, you know so much about him, or at least enough to understand his motivation and his character and why he is the way he is without needing 3 stupid prequels to tell you. We didn't need a whole lot of like craziness going on to, oh, he was abused as a boy and now he like hates everyone that isn't a White Walker. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just, you don't need all of that, but you at least need him saying, finally, I have you. And when I kill you, now I can be king of everything and blah, 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 whatever. Like something to at least be like, okay, this is what he's here for. And then Bran's like, F you. And then he does that to distract from Arya. You know what I'm saying? Like, there could have been a million things that they could have, but instead it was just stare creepily at each other for 60 seconds. And then somehow magically Arya is as fast as, Quicksilver.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there is a point that I read also saying that the books are more fantasy and the books go into the Night King. Actually, there's no Night King in the books. But anyway, there's walkers and there's a mythology to them. Right. And the show is more of a political drama. I agree, and I love the political drama aspect. Yeah. But if you want to focus, because right now we're going to focus on that, apparently, the political drama, I'm into that. I'm expecting a lot of intrigue. If there are no surprise kills, I'll be pissed, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to focus on that and you wanted White Walker's aspect to be like, oh, it's menacing, it's creepy, finish it last season. They should have finished it last season, and we go into, okay, we're in shambles, but we still need to decide who is the leader of Westeros.
Yeah.
They should have ended that last season. I actually just thought. I didn't tell you anything.
No, they could have, too.
They could have, and they should have done that. They shouldn't have made it a larger-than-life endgame type of, threat. But...
Yeah. This definitely wasn't the end game, as you said.
I don't even know what to say.
Look,
I went on a rant instead.
That's true. Look, I think I've said my biggest issue a couple of times already in this review. Okay, I'll just say that a really, really, really big issue I have with this is that since season 1, especially on rewatches, the most interesting and intriguing thing has been the White Walkers. Ever since season 1, every time that there is a scene of White Walkers, that is like That's the end game. That's the one thing that is going to fuck everything over. It doesn't matter for shit who ends up on the goddamn Iron Throne. When the whites come, everyone is fucked, and it doesn't matter who sits on the throne. However, for some reason, and that's the thing, like, it culminated essentially in Hard Home for me. Hard Home is my absolute favorite episode of the show because of what it did. Like, just the whites finally showing that the whites attack people and that they have no chance in hell. Now, season 7 for the first time showed me an episode of White Walkers that wasn't that great, which was Beyond the Wall, when they went beyond the wall to get a walker, and I thought it was stupid, and everyone was protected by plot armor except for
Ex Machina.
A lot of Ex Machinas, and just all the writing tropes that have been invented for movies and TV that Game of Thrones initially never did, because Game of Thrones was the show to kill off the main characters, to break convention, to be realistic about it, and that you're like, I don't know who will die or who won't. This episode was clear-cut. I could predict everything until the end, and a few characters died. Did I expect Beric? Yes. Did I expect Jorah? Yes. Did I expect Lyanna? No, but it makes sense.
And it wasn't like a huge. It's not anything that's gonna shake up the rest of the season. Because
like, and we expected Grey Worm to die. Why the fuck is he still alive? Well, he was the most dead out of everyone, I think. Yeah. How is he still alive? I don't know. I also kind of expected Brienne and Tormund to die. Oh, no, they're still alive. Definitely. There are so many characters still alive that should have been fucking dead, because this show should kill off characters every once in a while. Kill off a character to break convention, to actually say, fuck you, that's your favorite character that just died, and deal with it. Because that's what it did with the Red Wedding. It didn't give zero. It gave zero fucks about your how you cared about Talisa and Robb Stark. They were dead, and you just dealt with it, and the show is going to go on. That's what it has done for the first 4 seasons, and then from season 5 onward, it started to resurrect characters. It started to have so much plot armor around these characters that for some reason they can't die, because for some reason we need to keep them alive until the end of the goddamn show. It really, honestly, just fucking frustrates me that it keeps doing this, especially in the later seasons where, characters are protected by plot armor because they need to survive until the end of the show. It's not Game of Thrones anymore. And look, I still think it's better than most of the TV shows out there. It's just that it's not what it once was. And that was my rant. That was my thing about this episode mostly, where I was really frustrated with it, and where it essentially killed one of my favorite storylines throughout the entire show.
I want to say that we're not bitching for the sake of bitching.
No, we love this show.
Honestly, throughout the show, throughout the episode, I felt so tense, and I wanted a release, which never happened. That's why we're so, like, I haven't said a single positive, maybe one positive thing I said.
Okay, but you did. Oh, you also pointed out when we had the dragons above the clouds with the moon. That was gorgeous. A really cool shot.
I said that's a screensaver shot for you, right?
It was. It really was.
But I do want to say the positive thing that we touched on, and every single big character death that we got was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Theon, his arc was fully completed.
Was ended.
It was great. Jorah died protecting Dany.
Oh yeah, that was perfect.
That's perfect. Ed was expected, but he saved Sam. That's how Ed died. Lyanna's moment was amazing.
Yeah.
Beric, they said that he has a purpose. He has a purpose.
His purpose is to serve the Lord of Light.
Yeah, he protected Arya so that Arya can kill the Night King.
Yep.
So the deaths that we got were perfect. Like it's really great. And
Melisandre.
I'll say
at the end.
It was. I mean, I don't know.
That one just kind of made no sense. Yeah, I was like, why did she?
It happened.
It happened.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing in defense. I'm very surprised that I'm defending show writers, but the old characters that we had, we've seen them for a very long time. So to give every single character that of a meaningful death, that would have taken a lot, and that might have dragged. Oh, we need to kill off Tormund gracefully. Brienne has to die in like a glory of the battle. Podrick as well. So I get that Grey Worm had a lot of moments when he could have heroically died, so I will not defend that.
Yeah.
But
Grey
I
Worm should have
do
been
see
dead.
why they didn't kill a lot of people. That would have taken a lot, but
Fair
that is
enough.
not my biggest issue with the episode.
My wonder for Grey Worm is I think that we might see Missandei as dead in the crypt. So that might be why she's still
No.
alive.
I believe Missandei survived. We saw her at the end.
Oh, we did?
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't remember it.
I'm not
but
100% sure.
Me neither.
But
And
either way,
in the next season trailer episode.
She's in the trailer of the next episode.
She is?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think
Dragons
that
are there.
sure that we're going to see Grey Worm dead more. I think they kept him alive because he's going to be there for Dany, and he's going to die his heroic death protecting her or with her somehow, die with her, around her later on, and that's why they want to give him something else because he kind of helped kickstart Dany, like going on this whole journey or whatever you want to say. And then I do agree also with Irina that it would be hard to give maybe as many deaths as we would like. Yes, I think that maybe the ones that they chose were kind of strange choices. But I think Jorah was a good one. Yeah. And I think Melisandre was interesting. I don't know if it necessarily matters because she came out of nowhere and she went back to nowhere.
She went back.
Yeah, so I guess it was a good bookend for the episode on either side. It's her entering.
Hey, at least she did have a purpose.
Her purpose, was to find someone who would kill the Night King, which in the way she did, she told Arya and Blue Eye. We didn't talk about this one, but it was a cool moment that you would shot a lot of eyes, brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes. And then she went, where did Arya go? And I'm like, that's where she went. So that was a cool moment. Melisandre found this person. She, by the Lord of Light, best Lord, best God.
That's the God to believe in.
Thank you for fire. That was amazing.
Like, fuck all the old gods and the new. It's Lord of Light that you need to believe in.
Yeah, so Melisandre her arc, that was good. And Davos saw her die. That was very satisfying for him, I imagine.
That was interesting. Because he was like ready to chop her head off right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hold on, give me an hour and 20 minutes. I'll fix everything.
I'll die myself.
Yeah, true.
There were definitely good parts of the episode. I think just what's frustrating is what was negative, like really took away these good parts. Yeah, because it was like Irina said, you were looking for that closure, that release, and you never quite get it because even when finally the Night King is dead, you're just kind of like, wait, what? And you don't want to be like, wait, what? You want to be cheering. You want to be like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. But instead you're like, huh?
I did cheer because I thought it was I did cheer quite a lot because I did think it was a really awesome moment, but that was mostly for how Arya did it.
You just wanted some release. That's what I started sobbing at Jorah. Like I would cry for him, but that was too much, and I knew that it was just a pent up emotion from all the tension. Yeah.
It was pretty crazy how like he was like swinging himself in front of a lot of the blades and stuff to take the hits, so that like that was a really emotional moment. I did.
That was perfect death for him, definitely.
That's true. Anyway, I think we've discussed this episode enough. Let's quickly look at next week because I have some thoughts, especially regarding Daenerys. Because of what I said in this episode, Daenerys did a lot in the episode and sacrificed a lot. She sacrificed her Dothraki army. She sacrificed her Unsullied army. She sacrificed one of her most trusted friends in Jorah. She almost sacrificed Drogon even. Like, she did everything to make sure that they would win the battle. She helped in every way she could. And I think that in the next episode, the people of the North, essentially what is left, will finally recognize her as a good queen, where they all recognize, oh, she just sacrificed everything to make sure that we are still alive, and I want to follow her because what she did, that was good. So I think that after the shit that she was in the first two episodes, she's redeemed herself. She's going to win the trust. I really wonder how then she'll take King's Landing. She does have true dragons with it, so that helps.
Two dragons and like 5 people. I don't know.
No, okay. Hey, she has several people. Okay. Anyway, what are you thinking about the next episode?
It's gonna take something out of me to shift my perception of the season of what I expected. I really expected this big, like maybe sacrifice to kill the Night King. Now it's not going to happen. Okay, political drama. So Cersei is now in a favorable position, definitely.
Yeah.
Compared to everyone else. So that's going to be interesting. Um, honestly, I feel a little lost. I don't know what to really expect from the next episode. Dany and Jon are gonna be still butting heads probably about him being a Targaryen. Sam is gonna be sleeping a lot because he's wept more than in his entire life. I don't know. It's just a wrapping up. I hope they don't take a lot of time, cleaning up the battle. Because please don't spend an entire episode like they were building up to the battle.
Yeah.
They took like 2 episodes. Don't take one more to wrap things up. Wrap things up in like first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think the wrap up will be quite quick, and then they'll shift focus to okay, how do we take the Iron Throne now?
Yeah. I don't have much thought about what's now going to be happening, but it's gonna be good.
All right, Ryan, what are you expecting of the next episode?
Yeah, I think that in those first 20 minutes is where we're gonna get burying the dead people, kind of clean up, hug each other, kiss each other, feel happy that we're still alive. And then it's going to be like, Daenerys, I expect her to be the one like, let's go. Get on the road. We got to go. We got a kingdom, 7 kingdoms, but we got a throne to secure.
Yeah,
so I think
supposedly it's a month journey to King's Landing from Winterfell.
Not on a dragon.
We'll see. But I think that
still need to get
you're going to get, your little bit of, okay, here you feel bad for yourself because you still did lose some people that were kind of important. But then it's going to be game planning and how do we move on. And this is honestly the side, I guess, I almost look at the season now in 2 parts because the first 3 episodes were very, Battle of Winterfell centric. Yeah. And now we're moving into the Game of Thrones. So I'm more excited for this side of it to kind of see how that's all going to proceed. But I want to see, like Irina was saying, some surprise deaths, some sacrifices that we weren't expecting. So I'm not even going to bother predicting anything. I just want to see how it's going to go from here.
Well,
one thought I have, something's up with Tyrion. It should play.
Yeah.
Especially like he was like talking to Sansa. They might be up to something. But yeah, that's what I'm now looking for. I'm not against these small little plots. Varys is still alive.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is. So he should bring Varys back because so far he's just been scared and cold and bald in the crypt.
It's pretty much
bring back the first 2 seasons because when you play the Game of Thrones,
you win that. No, that's true. Yeah. Also, one thing I noticed is that episode 5 of the season will be directed by Miguel Sapochnik, who directed this episode, and I assume that means that that's going to be the big battle for the throne, and then the last episode 6, will be wrapping everything up. So we'll see how it plays out. But I am still. Despite my disappointment in this episode, I want to switch gears. I want to just look forward to what's coming, and I want this show to end on a high note because I think it can. I trust the people behind it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's all we can say about this episode, guys. Please let us know in the comments why we're wrong or why we're right. Why you agree with us? Do you also agree it was a disappointing episode, or are you like, no, you guys are crazy, this episode was amazing? Let us know why. Please give the video a like, not a dislike, because of our rants. I'm sorry for the rants, but yeah, they were kind of needed. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then we're going into plugs. So Ryan, where can people find you?
All I'll say is if you disagree with our rants, that's almost more of a reason to give us a like because at least we tried. We put the effort in. We brought our whole emotions to this. Game of Thrones, it's not a joke. It's very important. So
yeah. Life and death, literally.
Exactly. You can find me on Twitter at Clan McClellan and Instagram at Vintage Sights and Sounds.
All right. And yeah.
I'm going home, but I hope I'll still be here. No, yeah.
We'll try to get you on. It would be nice to still do the last couple of reviews with you. Because you love this show. Anyway,
I
guys, please like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram at D2A channel, and you can follow me at Dash Movie Guy on Twitter, on Facebook and Letterboxd, Kees Cornelis, and that's pretty much it. We also do Shimoda reactions from time to time on this channel, a live show. Actually, last week we talked about the MCU as a whole. No spoilers yet for Endgame, but this week we will definitely talk spoilers for Endgame because, look, this movie broke 1 billion opening weekend. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know where you've been in the last weekend.
And you can find the live show now as a podcast. I know Spotify and where else.
That is true. That's Chris will be very happy with this. I already can tell. So yeah, check out those live shows because hey, at least Endgame was amazing. So with that said, guys, we'll see you at the next show. Take care.